we're going to be talking about why, well, why all of the major alphabet news station had decided not to film South Africa. Well, all the attorneys that have come forth with literally quotes direct from their mouths, which can't be refuted. It would be perjury. Quotes from various Zios who have said certain things that would support the agenda. Sorry to have to talk into code. So all the alphabet channels decided not to live stream the ICJ it was decided not to. I'm sorry if you guys are looking for twin flame content, but as a spiritual person who walks the earth, as a star seed, I'm not just here to entertain people on twin flames, okay? I'm here to talk about the spiritual process. And the spiritual process involves human rights. It involves, and I'm sorry, I literally have 0 people. I'm talking to myself, and that's fine. I don't care. Because I'm actually recording this to actually upload to YouTube. I am absolutely shocked at the level of lack of consciousness in the spiritual community about this subject matter. I am shocked that so many people don't want to talk about it, but they want to talk about their twin flame 24/7. That's all they want to talk about, but not what's going on across the planet, not what's going on something that is unprecedented in the history, in the last, say, 200 years of our human history. We are now seeing documentation of things that we have read about in books, things that we thought would never happen again. And yet the spiritual community continues to be silent about it, acting as if this would lower their vibration. When you ignore someone's suffering, knowing damn well it's happening while you're shopping and talking about your twin flame and talking about runner chaser, and that's all you're talking about as a twin flame content creator, and acting as if what's happening is not happening, you are actually lowering your vibration. Ignoring and ignorance is lowering your vibration. It is. And I don't care how many people listen to me. I don't care if there's no one listening to me. What I'm caring about is that people who are able to influence their family members, pull out your phone and show from TikTok, download some videos of what has been quoted at The Hague and show it to your family members. These are real quotes because the alphabet channels did not show live streaming, but they are with the Zios. The Zios are getting full exposure on broadcasting. The alphabet channels are broadcasting them across the world, but not South Africa's defense. That's not happening. And I don't care what you think is important on this twin flame journey. What you have to understand is that what happens in the suffering of other people has to end. Because part of the twin flame journey, part of the starseed journey is about compassion for the masses. It's about compassion for all. It's about breaking down and understanding as a spiritualist that at this point in our junction during the ascension, everything that is happening is political, social, and human rights issues. And if you're not seeing human rights being shown to even your own citizens, meaning you're walking by and seeing massive amounts of people in tents, living without water, bathrooms, showers, that's just a minimum. And meanwhile, there is there's the question of certain courts that are asking the powers that be if it is not a human right to receive water, and the answer can't be answered with a yes. Which, by the way, I just reposted something that shows a repartee, a volley between 2 people, asking the powers that be, somebody who represents the powers that be, and he could not sit and answer that water in a war zone, just water, the accessibility of water was a human right. Could not answer that question because it's very nuanced and very complicated. He could not answer it straight up. Okay? We're about to see. These people get away with it. We're about to see everything we've worked so hard as a society in readdressing what is okay and what is not okay in combat. What is acceptable and not acceptable. Excuse me, rules of engagement. Rules of engagement is important. Okay? You don't shoot someone in the back. It's just a basic rule, right? You don't sucker punch someone. Okay? Even we know that. We know even that in a fight between two men or two women, you don't sucker punch someone and you don't go below the belt. Do we know this? Because we know this, right? There's rules even in boxing. Okay. We agree, right? So if that's true, right? Even in boxing, right? Then we also came up with rules with the Geneva Convention and so forth, and human rights courts were formed around the world to make sure that some of these dastardly things were not ever done again to human beings. There are things I can't mention in this live because I will be, put into the TikTok jail once again. And what I'm trying to say to you is make sure that you realize that if you are seeing your alphabet channel not showing what the South Africans were saying, what their positions were, and the quoting of many of the Zios talking about their agenda, full on, don't care, boom, yes, this is what we're doing, it's quotable stuff that you can actually, that is backed by video, of them saying it, okay? It's not hearsay, it's not conjecture, it's not I heard, no, it's on video, it's a recorded camera of quotes. And all of that evidence that South African attorneys, and many of them are made up of other international attorneys. There's an Irish attorney that's part of the South African team and so forth. Brilliant woman. All of that was not aired. But today, okay, the Zios walk in, and today they've come in with their rhetoric and their lies, and that the imbalance is wrong. And so if you have mommy and daddy on the couch thinking that what they're watching is the truth, I would like you to pull out your phones and start showing them some real stuff. Okay? It's our responsibility, each and every one, to make sure that if our household and the people we love and the people we care for are educated. If the alphabet channel won't do it, then we need to do it. Okay? We've been very lucky with TikTok. Very, very lucky, because if it wasn't TikTok, we wouldn't know zip. Okay? So it's because of TikTok this is happening. So I bow my homages to TikTok. But TikTok is also playing a very narrow field, because the powers that me know what I just said is true. And TikTok is always under duress, okay? And TikTok is our freedom of speech. This is the most probably democratic platform I've ever seen since 1998 when AOL first came onto the play, and MSN. I don't know if you guys remember when internet first came on board, okay? There was a lot of free willy stuff happening, and then it really got locked down in around 2006, 2007. That's when there was a lot of censorship. And then after WikiLeaks, all bets were off, So all I'm going to say to you is this. It is your responsibility as a human citizen, as a starseed, as a twin flame in separation, whatever the hell you eat, it's your responsibility to make sure that our human rights as a people across the planet is enforced. And if you guys, I just went from 11 people to 7, that's how pathetic. I'm so disappointed in the majority. But to be honest with you, all we need is 100 million people. And we have more than that in starseed numbers. We have more than 100 million starseeds on the ground right now. I'm one of them, and many of you listening are too. You know why you're here. I hope you do, because if you haven't figured out why you're here, at the biggest transition that humanity has ever seen since Atlantis fell, this is the biggest transition. It's been talked about for millennia, okay? 12,000 years. We've been talking about this. It's been written about. It's been remembered. It's been downloaded. It's been, written about in the Sumerian tablets, in other scriptures. The ascension is upon us, and this is the pinnacle point. This is the changing. This is the changing of the cards. And you have to pay attention. So if the alphabet channel won't do its job, and actually literally a non-biased, real journalism, right? By actually showing both sides, which they're not. See, I didn't know that because I haven't owned a TV in 20 years. I won't watch TV. I watch shit from on my phone, to be honest with you, or my tablet, or my computer, and I watch Gaia.com because I don't even want to be. I don't even want to listen to one more lie. I don't want to waste my time on people who still believe in the 3D rhetoric. I'm tired of that. Many of you are tired. And you're tired because humanity is being asked to be human. Imagine that, to actually be human, to actually step into your humanity. What does that mean? Doing things that are uncomfortable for once. Okay? It took the civil rights. By the way, we're coming up to Martin Luther King. You imagine some people resent. Can you imagine there's some people that resent that? Thank God for Martin Luther King, because it would have been way, way worse. But there were people who were Jewish and Christian and white and Asian and Native American that walked the civil rights with Martin Luther King. It took all of us. Let's not forget that. Every single one of us linked hands and walked the civil rights into the 1970s. And none of us should have anything but gratitude for that holiday. Thank God for that man. Because it would have been far, far worse. And I'm going to tell you something. We need to celebrate that day with full understanding of the next changing of the guards. Because you see, there was a time when making a black man go to a black toilet was considered normal. That was 3D logic. See, that's why I don't trust 3D logic. It was considered normal. It was considered right. It was the law. It was the law. All right? So anything that is the law that suppresses a human right can't be trusted, can it? Because it was a law for women not to vote. It was the law for women not to own property. Does that make it right because it's the law? And so we have to get better at, discernment, my friends. And if it makes you feel sick to look at images of what we're seeing in, the part of the world, the watermelon group that are not drinking water, that are eating leaves off trees, that I've seen Bazan, she's lost 30 pounds. I don't know if you don't know who Bazan is, you should know by now. Because it's been 100 days, 111 journalists. Meanwhile, the WH House is telling us that what we're seeing is wrong. It's the epitome of narcissism. You want to talk about gaslighting, my friends? There you go. We're being gaslit. They don't care one iota. And so we need to do better. We need to be better as a people. We need to do better as individuals. As individuals, we need to do better. Do you understand? That means if they're not showing to your mommy and daddy and grandpa and grandma and Auntie Melba over there making bread today, and all she's watching is CNN or any alphabet channel, she going, look, they're right, we should support. Yeah, maybe you should pull out your phone now. See, you want to have an argument? That's a good argument to have. That's the one where you go, let me turn off the TV and I'll show you reality. Mama Belma or Aunt Billy Joe or whatever the hell. Pull out your phones and start talking to individuals. Put together a collage. And go, you tell me if this is normal. You tell me if this man can't say that water is a human right. Now, the fact that the CEO of Nestle says it isn't, that was talked about 10 years ago. He was quoted as saying, water is not a human right. So that should tell you right there what the... And if you ask me again, well, what about my twin flame? Sweetie pies, this is a twin flame issue. We're not here just to have the bubble love, okay? We're here to do some serious work. The main act for a twin flame, okay, is to get shit right on 3D planet Earth, to get it to 5D, and the nectar comes after. The nectar comes when this planet is no longer under the clutches of a 3D system. Does that make sense? And then there comes this incredible level of union. And many of you will come into union to do this kind of work, other kind of work, healing work, trauma, masculine trauma work, feminine trauma work, together, apart, meaning they'll do this kind of work, you'll do this kind of work, but you'll live together. But if you don't start getting like awakened to all of this, then yeah, you won't be in union for long. It won't last for long. You either get off your, you know what, and you guys read books, you start understanding about channeling, about telepathy, about healing, about creating contact that helps people, creating circles of healing to help people. But the conversations will always be about human rights. It is always about human rights. It was when Yeshua and Mary Magdalene walked this world. And look at what they did to that man. Look at what they did to her. They literally tore her down. They ripped her out of the scriptures. They ripped her out of it. And finally, many of us who are in the feminine embodiments have found her. Thank God we found her. We've claimed her back as the great sister, the great mother. Okay? But look at what they did. And so anything that you think is not twin flame related, get yourself educated, my friend. I don't know. Stop listening to these content creators who keep blabbing about only one thing, and that's all. Oh, I just don't want to lower my frequency and my vibration because we just need to be positive. Really? That would have worked in the 70s. And there were times when that was definitely important to do that. This is not the time. This is why this content is in our face, to make us choose between our own egoic needs. What are we? Are we really this ridiculous? Are we really back in the 80s where it's all about me, me, me? By the way, I come from the 1980s me generation. It was all about me and my yacht and my boat and my Louis Vuitton bag. And is it fake and is it real? And oh my God, a Birkin, I'm on the waiting list. Are you kidding me? Really? Really, when I could sell a Burton bag and literally feed a whole 100 people with that bag. There's something that we're being asked to be better than we've ever been before. And we haven't been asked to be that level of massive caring for, I don't think we've been asked to do that. I'm going to be arrogant, not in Atlantis. And the reason why I say that is because I see no actual... when I look in, I'm scanning my brain really fast. Because I love ancient history. I don't remember anything that asked us to be better than we've ever been until now. I think about the Iliad. I think about the Odyssey. I think about the Trojan War that lasted like 40 years or something like that. I think about all these wars. I think about the ancient scriptures. I think about all these stories, the Emerald Tablet, Thoth coming in, teaching us agriculture, all of that happening. And it was all about us learning how to do X, Y, and Z, but it was never about us being, about reaching into our hearts to really educate other people massively in a really passionate way to wake up, just wake up, just wake up. And I've never seen anything so heartbreaking. And believe me, I was like an 8-year-old when Vietnam was happening. I have images of Vietnam, of violence that I still remember, that I could describe to you, but I can't, because I won't be allowed to here on this forum, that still mark me today. Things that children should not go through, should never see, should never know about. And yet you have these amazing watermelon babies, okay, that are seeing and experiencing things, that are still smiling, that you've got grown men playing puppet shows to keep their minds off the sounds of constant drone noises and bombings and no water and no food and nothing, no heat. There are people literally starving to death. Apparently 80% of famine is in that part of the world, in the watermelon area. That's a disgrace, because there are trucks waiting to bring aid. And if you have one thing that the Zios don't want, the whole truck is rejected. And if no one thinks that this is the most basest, the most vile, the most disgusting moment in any war, in any century we can think of, I don't know what is. I'm not talking about Genghis Khan. I'm not talking about these conquerors. I'm not talking about Alexander the Great, because, actually, even Alexander the Great had enough sense to have his generals marry and intermarry interfaith people within each other so that they could commingle their bloodlines to create unions that would be lasting for generations. There was none of this separation and none of this. How do I put it without getting dinged? Can I even use the word racism? Or is that not politically correct to say that? There's basic human rights that have been violated to such a level that it took, of all places, South Africa to come in and say, we know what this is because we lived it. It is so basically disgusting that the Irish, the whole Irish country, damn near the whole damn island of Ireland stands with the watermelons, because they also lived through those kinds of systems. And they lived it and they experienced that. So it's not about the color of your skin, clearly, because you have one that's completely opposite spectrum of the other. It's about understanding human rights and the violation of it. And clearly we've seen the examples of whoever that decides that the class system is in place and it has no bearing on your skin color, right? So now we have the darkest shade, the lightest shade, and the middle shade that has been shown to us. So it's not a color thing. It's something else, which I can't state here because the last time I did state what I knew it was, I was literally shut down. Okay, just so you know. But I'm sure you can put two and two together. We as a people, as starseeds, which is way, way more intense than people. Because right now, we as starseed, energetic beings, are embodied in these we're in these flesh and bone bodies. And we're experiencing something that is the major, major test of our sovereignty and claiming it not just for ourselves, but for the entire of the incarnated world in these bodies. And it doesn't matter if people are asleep. It doesn't matter what religion they follow. Because source is source, God is God, the one of 1,000 names, the one who created us all. What it is, and the most beautiful thing I've ever heard is, kindness is my religion, love is my religion. It has nothing to do with any of these things that are meant to divide and conquer and splinter us from gender to gender, man against woman, and then color against color, and then religion against religion. It was always done purposely, but we have to get smarter about that and realize it has nothing to do with that. And those with black hearts will never, ever understand us, and they will speak to us through a vacuum. So once again, I'm asking you to pull out your phones, make fake accounts, put videos together, and start showing people that you care about and that you love. Don't just walk away. This is worse. This is far worse than what happened during in 2020 when we had the LOCKDOWN. Okay, this is far, far worse. And that separated families from each other, believe it or not. Those arguments, not going with the, you know what, or doing the, you know what, separated families. How many instances are we going to allow to separate our families? When you show images to someone who you know has a heart and you know has a conscience, when you lay it down to them with love and telling them the alphabet channel is not doing their job, let me show you why. Just give me an hour. Just give me an hour and I will give you an hour where you can rebut me. But give me this hour and lay it out for them. I know that a person with a half a heart, a person with a consciousness will look at these images and not start weeping and feeling completely destroyed by their former stance. You will actually collapse their belief that this is warranted, that this is, excuse me, to go after H. There's no way. There's no one that can look at anything for an hour, if you put it together right, and believe that it is a warranted situation. It has gone on too far. And this is not something that is isolated. I know, you know. And people say, well, what about the Congo? What about Sudan? Yes, yes. But right now, this is our priority to get. And it's sad that we have to triage, just like an ER. Okay. We have an ER wing with human rights, issues like that. Again, I'm afraid to use certain words. Excuse me for coughing. My throat chakra is like burning right now, as if it's engulfed in smoke. We have a triage system, and the triage system is begging for the watermelons to be released from this unbelievable clutch and to have the sovereign right to live, to thrive. I don't know, imagine getting a passport, traveling to Italy, going to the south of France, going to Greece, some of our people, the watermelon people that are all over the world, are not allowed to go back to their land, not for a visit, not for anything. But anyone else of us, you, me, we could go today, no problem, just a visa, we're in. There's something wrong with that. And I feel as if we are being asked by the universe to right the wrongs of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of situations. And again, I'm not using certain code words, situations that have brought people to their knees again and again, under the false flags of separation, right? We have to unite as one race, as one people. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you follow. I don't give a damn. I want to know what's in your heart. What's in your heart? Are you a good person? Do you want my baby to have water? Do you want my baby to have food? Do you want my baby to have shelter? Will you be hurt? Even for an hour, if my baby was hurt, destroyed by forces of evil, by forces of greed. And if the answer is yes, that's all that matters. You don't need to understand anything else about why do you follow this religion? Why do you follow that religion? It's none of your business if your religion is the religion of kindness. Because if my religion is not yours and you come in with a different religion, but you are so kind and loving and you care about my life and my baby's life, then I may actually become much more evolved. I might realize that people of all religions follow love and follow God in a real way. Do you understand? And that doesn't mean that that person will leave their religion. It means that they will leave an idea that only their religion breeds good. You see what I'm saying? That's where we need to go as a people. I personally don't follow any religion, okay? But I do follow God. I do follow Source. I follow great avatars, great men and women who walk this planet, who were preaching the same thing of brotherhood and sisterhood that many cynics would actually laugh at and think that's so ridiculous. Brotherhood and sisterhood, that's ridiculous, because there's this darkness in them. And I'm not here to convert dark people. I don't care. Stay away from me. I'm more interested in people who are not sure of their own power, of their own ability to make massive changes with little steps. One step, just one, from each of us. If each starseed took one step forward, do you know how far we would go? It would be an intention of one mind, of one heart, of one aspect, of one desire that we would want human rights for people around the world and abundance for everyone. There's something wrong when people are making 72 billion or are worth 72. There's something wrong when one human being has that and decides that they need to hold on to all of it and not disperse it across the world. There's something, don't you? Really think about it. And it's interesting too, because if you look at some of these billionaires, many of them won't even leave it to their kids. Many of them will only leave these kids 10, 20 million. You say, 10, 20. Yes, and compared to billions, that's nothing. So why hold on to something like that if you're not even going to give it to your children? See, I could see if you're going to hand over your 72 billion to your son and daughter or whatever. I could kind of see that, because you'd want your entire generation until infinite times would be handled. But that's not actually what's going on with many of them. Many of them are literally holding it on in their lifetime and then dispersing them to charities. What charities? Why? Why not build whole entire small cities, tiny houses, so that we don't see homelessness anymore? It's not that I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it exists. I want to know that every human being has a little house with a wood stove, with food, with water, with electricity, with Wi-Fi, with phones, or little internet TVs or whatever, so that they can actually maybe write the great American novel or write the great British novel. Or, in other words, do you know how many people that for all we know, we could have a Da Vinci in a tent. Would Da Vinci have survived this? Would he have been, because you realize, right, that guys like Da Vinci they had patrons. Patrons mean they were giving money to do this project and that. We don't even have that in place anymore. We don't have people who patron artists. We don't have patrons who patron writers. We don't have that in place anymore. How many brilliant minds are we losing due to homelessness because they don't have the wherewithal to have a job at Target? Not that there's anything with Target, but they can't do McDonald's. They can't do these jobs. They can't. They're not wired that way, but they're wired to create magic for the planet. Meanwhile, they're intense. How many people are we losing? And so it's going back to all of human rights, and it's going back to the abundance for everyone. And it's going back to the idea that everyone has that right to experience freedom from being afraid of having rent to pay and this to pay. And you would say, well, that's a socialized system. No, it's an equitable system. It's a system where people literally are not afraid of being one paycheck away from the streets. Because that's the reality. Every person that I know, okay, because I don't know multimillionaires, is one paycheck away from the streets. If they get sick, if anything happens, they are screwed. And that's the reality that many of us live here in. Most people don't have 3 months rent or mortgage. They're one step away from losing it all. And they're so busy just surviving, getting that second or third job, right? Running from the FICO scores or whatever. What does that have to do with twin? All of it, every single act. Because if you're so busy with surviving, you can't sit in a meditation to get your downloads, to understand why you are a starseed, why you're having a telepathic communication from your twin, why it's all interconnected. What does that have to do with the watermelons? Everything. Because if other people are suffering to this level of mass suffering, and you're a starseed, and you're awakening, and your third eye is awakening, you're going to feel it in your sleep. You're going to wake up exhausted. You're going to feel a sense of malaise, ill-ease in your own skin. We're all interconnected. And now more than ever, many of you who are starseeds are feeling that. Right in the gut, right in the solar plexus, right in your heart chakra. You're feeling at ease. You're having headaches. It is ascension symptoms, but it's also ascension question time. What are you going to do with this? And for these spiritualists not to raise one finger, not to say one thing, not to talk in multiple levels of what it is to ascend, and to only question and only talk about runner chasing, divine masculine, it's actually, no offense, sickening. It's sickening because the massive levels of masculine depression is at an all-time high. The unaliving of themselves, of the broken masculine, is an all-time high. Men don't even know how to be men anymore. They don't even know what it is to be good in their skin. They don't understand how to be rooted in their power anymore because of all the games that have been played on us with the divide and conquer agenda. I'm not going to go any further because I can tell that I just can tell that it's going to be, anyway. There's a lot here that you guys need to think about. So there are very few people, like I said, as a collective, Emily, I need to read more. I didn't even consider it would lower my vibration. Of course not, Rachel. No kidding. Let's start a book club. Well, the book club is, we'll talk about that. I have to watch every word I say. Every word I say. But It's not just Elon Musk. All of these billionaires, there are guys that are worth 60 billion. There's so many guys that are worth 60, 70, 50. I remember the old days in the 70s where the only people that had money like that, when it was at the tune of like 7 billion. I'll never forget that. It was a guy that, Saudi Arabian, that was worth 7 billion. And I was like, whoa, right? And that was in the late 80s, early 90s, 7 billion. Now, billion is like the new million, right? Now to have 20 million, you're like, okay, whatever, I guess you're doing okay. You're doing okay, okay? So it's crazy. Unfortunately, that's me. I'm about to move in with my stepmom because of my finances. You know what? There's probably a good reason why you and your stepmom need to like be together and talk. So everything is into play. Be careful, okay? With I'm going to be straight up. I'm be careful following content creators who only talk about this garbage, okay? And it's not garbage. I have a lot of nerve to say that, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that, but I'm in union with my twin, right? But I'm in union with my twin because of multiple aspects that I won't discuss here. But I can tell you that it's not a flex because we're still flames, not twin rays, okay? That's number one. Number two, I had to go into my mission. And when I was in my mission, I was able to come into union with myself. And then when this happened, October 8th, right? I'm just going to put October 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th and November, Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, ceasefire. Okay, great. Thank you for the holidays. Boom, let's just go. We're going to hammer them even more. I'm going to tell you, I wasn't able to do a lot of content on that subject. I am going to start doing much more content on Starseeds and your purpose because I've done pretty much a lot of content on Twin Flames. I have tons of content on Twin Flames. I do not bullshit. I do not kiss your butt. I do not tell you what you want to hear. Not as a reader, not as a psychic, not as a hypnotherapist. I don't do any of that. As a spiritualist, I want you to wake up. I want you to wake up into your power, and I want you to do what you need to do. If you're compelled to do X, Y, and Z, then go do that. But if I can do it, make death your advisor. You know what I mean? Make it, which, just go do something. You just stop being so damn, stop being a perfectionist, for Christ's sakes. Just stop thinking that I'm going to dot my E's and cross my T's or whatever the fuck. No, stop doing that. Stop it. Just write your book. Damn it. Jack Kerouac on the road. He wrote it on one whole, it was like those rolls of paper towels that you get in the gym or whatever. He wrote his book on the road on that roller. And it was a scroll basically, which he sent to his publishing house. Would you get published anyway in the time that we live in we've gone through 10 publishing houses to 2? No. You're not going to get published. You're going to have to self-publish. And you know what? People are fucking rock and rolling being self-published, okay? They're making money. I haven't even been able to promote my book because I'm more into promoting all kinds of other things that deal with immediate healing that we need as a planet, okay? And this is an SOS from Pachamama. This is an SOS to our humanity. This is you choosing to be a human being in this incarnation because you haven't always been a human being. Clearly, being a starseed, you haven't. And you realize, right, that you had to come down. You had to lower your frequency to come here. Do you understand? To come here. And in these bodies, you're like a deep sea diver, okay? And as you rise up the ascension, if you rise up through the ocean too fast, you can get the bends. That's what they're showing me. They're showing me a diver that's dove down, lowered your frequency, right? And now you're diving back up, and you got to do it a certain way, or else you'll get the bends and you can die, right? So that's not going to happen to you, obviously. But what's going to happen to you is you're going to have headaches. And so as you go back up to the surface of the water to see what the world really looks like, right? What the world really is, which is not just the depth of the ocean, but it's the horizon above. It's the skies above. It's the stars, it's planets, it's landmass. It's more than what we've been taught to believe. And the divide and conquer, the agenda started with honestly, for me, I'm just going to map it. For me, it was when they removed Mary Magdalene. Okay? To me, that's when it started. And then this idea that we were born with sin. Like, are you kidding? Have you ever seen a baby? Have you ever smelled a baby? When was the last time you smelled a baby? Have you ever seen a baby? Really? Born with sin? Really? So this agenda to shame us and to subjugate our light and to subjugate our power was not by mistake. Mark my word. And so my job, okay, as a spiritualist who has a thimble of influence, like literally like the size of a baby teaspoon, okay? I'm going to use that to the maximum of its potency to tell you that what's happening with the watermelons. Can you imagine? I have to call them that. I have to dehumanize them so that I don't get. But that is what we're here for. We're here not to allow it to happen. We're here not to allow it to see. Well, what should I do? Like I said, pull out your phones and start showing people. Really? You support, Oh, well, you support Hamas? I'm not. It's the rhetoric and the fear factor is breaking down, thank God. But again, to repeat myself, what got me on this live was after the third comment I saw on posts saying that the South African opening statements with this Irish attorney and these other attorneys on the South African case of the 84-page document on apartheid was not live streamed by the alphabet channels all over the world, was not live streamed at all. And what was live streamed is what with the Zios today. All over the world, that was live streamed. And that is a purposeful, it is a purposeful, in our face, insulting, gaslighting act against those of you who support the watermelons. It is us spitting in our face and saying, no matter what, we'll get away with it. No matter what, your opinion doesn't matter. We'll make sure it doesn't matter. We'll make sure we'll bury these seeds. And as Infinite Waters say, they forgot that we would sprout, we would grow. We are seeds. You can bury us all you want. We will thrive. And the fruits of our love will bear fruit for all to enjoy. We don't have to worry about that in the end of it. But in the fray of it, we have to make a decision as to how much gaslighting we're going to allow to go on without us stepping in and putting our foot to door and saying, yeah, you're not going any further. You're not going any further in and invading my ability to influence those I love. So it's a household by household. Okay? It's your home, your family, your people that you love. You educate them. You sit them down. It could be you having a meeting with your superintendent at school. It could be each school supporting, the watermelons. It could be that kind of movement that go little by little by little, drop by drop by drop. And that's going to be very important. Very important. At PTA meetings, what do they believe in? Are they talking about this, or are they talking about how they're going to do a bake fund for the book club? I mean, how low level is the conversations happening right now? Okay, how low? Because when I was a kid at 8 years old, I knew about Vietnam. Okay, and everyone was talking about Vietnam. People weren't protesting at all in Europe and I lived in Europe at the time. They were not protesting, okay, at all, okay? I've never seen, I can tell you from a woman that's been here for quite some time on this planet, I have never seen the massive protests across the world. I mean, kudos to you people. I mean, I embrace you all as brothers and sisters. But now it needs to go little by little, teacher, to superintendent, to director, to San Francisco just actually voted for a ceasefire. The fucking City Hall of San Francisco erupted in joy. Okay? It's little by little, we have to push this because it is a greater story. It is the story of our own sovereignty as human beings to be abundant and to be left alone, to be able to gather rainwater without being sighted, to be able to grow food without being ground to dust. Okay? So I could go on, but you get the picture, right? And it is our job to educate, and many of you have lived in your communities for years. Okay? You don't need to have a PhD to run for Congress. Many of you know that in 2020, actually this year, there will be seats opening. Do it. It's going to scare the shit out of you. Do it. Just run. What do you have to lose? Nothing. Now, the worst thing that could happen is you could actually win. That's the worst thing could be, oh shit, I fucking won. Right. Good. Now go do some work. Take that money that you're going to get paid and actually get some work done. In the 1960s, there was a guy called Adam Clayton Powell Jr. who did a lot of work while he was in office. He was a man of color. Okay, I'll say that. And he was an amazing man, amazing politician. He got a lot of bills passed. I mean, amazing bills. One person can do massive, massive stuff and stop things. Like the concept of lobbying, I always thought that was weird. I thought, wait, that's kind of like, that's not good. That shouldn't even be allowed. And it shouldn't be allowed. So many of you live all across this country. Run for office. And I mean, Congress, go for it. Oh, I should be mayor and now governor. No, fucking go for the gold and try to run more than once, because refine your content, refine what you're going to say. I'm going to say something to you. If you speak from your heart, you'll win. People are tired of the bullshit. People don't want to hear fucking speech. People want to hear from your heart. And no one is speak from their heart. No one in Congress represents us. I'll tell you that. Because if it did, this whole debacle would be over by now. And we wouldn't have homeless people and homeless vets and people being thrown out, vets being thrown out so that other people can be put. It's insane, the divide and conquer mechanics that are being played out. We are all immigrants, okay? My father was not an immigrant. I am, technically, because I wasn't born here. My mom was an immigrant. We're all immigrants. So anybody that talks this malarkey about immigrants needs to back off. The immigrants are not ever going to be the problem. Okay, ever. It's not the problem. It's the divide and conquer mechanics of saying that. Can you like read between my lines here? So that's what we need to understand. We need to bring people with heart into life, and we need to wake some of our dead wood back to life. Because what's happened is when you work 2 jobs, you know what I mean, and you're just trying to make the rent, something inside of you has to shut down to survive that kind of hamster wheel, dead end life. Does that make sense? So people do shut down out of just pure survival. They have to, because if they were consciously aware that this is a dead end life, the despair can't even be quantified. So it's normal. But if the last years they have left on this planet, all of us, right? Some of us are closer to the end to the beginning. And so my whole point is, while you're here, get some shit done and be in a hurry. Like urgency should be your urgency should be your guide. And we are at an SOS time on multiple levels on the planet. So when I say run, I ain't kidding. I'm not being funny. You have nothing to lose. Most of these people are so sick of career politicians that if you walked in and said, I've never done this before, but I tell you what, I want us to win. And I want us to all thrive. And I'm not BSing. I'm running so that I can get my piece of the pie too. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for you. I want us all to thrive. If you actually just started your whole campaign on that, I'm pretty sure you could, you give the opposite people, your opposing candidate, a run for their money. I'll tell you that. And all you'd have to do is show up and keep the same pitch. You don't have to change it. Answer the questions. What's the question? Blah, blah, blah. Answer it truthfully. I don't know. I'll find out. But I would like to know. And when I do, I will have one of my team members get back to you with an answer. You don't think journalists would appreciate that? Because they're all the journalists right now at the WH are being gaslit as well. And no journalist is got, and I can tell this by seeing how they question, has the courage to ask really what you might call rude questions, which are just questions, and being like a dog on a bone, like a pit bull on a bone, not letting go until it is answered or the person turns red on the podium, gaslighting them. Like if I was a journalist, there's no way they'd get away with half of the way they're answering or not answering. No way. We have lost the backbone. I don't know what we're teaching in journalism schools right now, but we're not teaching. You guys are better journalists. You are boots on the ground, and you have been since February 2020. Many of you started grabbing your phones and documenting shit. Many of you. And many of you still haven't. Many of you are not comfortable doing lives like this. I get it. Do what you're comfortable doing. And then a month later, do something uncomfortable. And then a month later, do something even more uncomfortable. And start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because that's going to bring you massive, massive levels of soul growth. And the ascension symptoms won't be so painful. Because part of the ascension symptoms, I'll tell you straight up, besides being upgraded, is that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I'll tell you that now. Okay? In terms of the tiredness, it's simply what's happening right now. Any book recommendation for Starseeds? Yes. Everything written by Zachariah Stitchin. Everything written by Zachariah. Just start reading about the Anunnakis, about the 12th planet, Thoth, all of those books. Start with that. The second books are anything by Rampati Lopsang, who was a walk-in. He was a British man who didn't want to live anymore. I think it was the 1940s. No, hang on. Yeah, it was the 1940s. He didn't want to live anymore. And a Tibetan monk wanted to use that body. It may sound woohoo to you, but there are movies made in the 1930s that talk about walk-ins. That's how common this thing was, you know? But anyway, how people understood it then, and now we've woohooed everything. But anyway, Rampati Lopsang wrote The Third Eye, The Saffron Robe. He wrote like 13, 14 books, but anyway, more than that actually. But Rampati Lopsang basically exchanged. He as the British man left the body, he stepped into the body and he started writing these books. And if you've ever read those books, you'll go, holy fuck, there's no way. Because you got to realize when he was writing those books, now at that point, it's the 1950s, right before Tibet got, you know what? And he's writing about experiences that you would have to know. You would have had to be in Tibet to know certain minute details of a day-to-day Tibetan life. You'd have to be there. You couldn't just read about, you know, and so it was. And many people started trying to debunk this guy. And I remember reading these books when I was 14. And I knew there's no way this is real. So The Third Eye is an amazing book. The book that actually has how do you say, the actual forward to how he became a walk-in is an incredible letter that's in the book. It's called My Trip to Venus. You don't have to read about Venus. Forget that. It's the letter that talks about his wife, Rampati Lopsang's wife, who said, yes, my husband definitely was not the same man who came back. Like, whatever happened, like that was not my husband. Like, that was a completely different man in the same body. So this concept of walk-in, as a starseed, you cannot trust 3D logic. You cannot trust it. It is not to be trusted. It is something that is movable, like the society's mores of a time. What was logical in ancient Rome, you would never trust today because you got enough sense to know that half the shit was crazy. Okay, just like today. You will look back on this one day and go, when you're, you know, in a new incarnated state, in a different body or a different dimension or whatever, and look back on the history of humanity right now, at this point of period, and go, what the fuck was happening with humanity? Like, how could they not know the watermelons were as viable as any human being? How can people, did people really look at each other's skin and make judgments on their skin color? Was that really happening? Like, is that possible? Like, really? I would have thought skin color and all these differences would have been beautiful and exciting. I mean, look, I'm on this planet. We're all fucking blue, right? I'm not being funny, actually. When I say that, I'm quite literally saying that to you. So starseeds need to know their history. Okay? It's like saying, if you're going to be Irish, learn about Ireland, right? But also learn about the Romans who were in Ireland, then learn about France and how it impacted this. And, well, let's look at the Arabs and how it impacted Ireland and Portugal. And in other words, if you're going to be a human being, learn your human history. If you're going to be a starseed, learn that history as well. On other planets, on other realms. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Thank you for pinning that for me. I appreciate that. Does that make sense? So that's going to be Zachariah Stitchin. Zachariah. Lol, whoever runs with that campaign would go viral. Nobody's done it. Well, I know, because nobody, I honestly, you got to be an oh shucks man walking in, just oh shucks, just want what you want. What do you want? I want, I don't know, a rent or mortgage I can afford. Yep, I want that too. What else do you want, my friend? I want to live in the Northeast and not pay like damn near half my rent in heat. Yep, that's what I want too. What else do you want, my friend? Now, there are people in the Northeast that pay $450 to $500 for heat a month. A month. Did you hear me? A month. And their rent is $850, $900, or $1,200 or whatever, right? It's not supposed to be like that. It never was. Nicholas Tesla taught us that. See, that's why they don't still teach him in school. Don't you find that interesting that the Edison story is still being perpetuated when there's a guy like Nicholas Tesla? Like, why? Like, really? This is one of the reasons why I educate. There's many reasons why I homeschool my kid many, many times in between him going to school, because we needed a 2-income family. You know, there we go again with we needed 2 incomes to survive. And we were not making that kind of money. 2 incomes, in my case, did not mean $100,000. It meant something like 55 to 60,000 at the time. Okay, just so you know. And because why did we need some? Because sometimes we needed special things for our son. My point is this: don't you find it interesting that a postman in the 1940s could afford to have 6 kids, buy a home, have 2 to 3 weeks vacation, go on vacation, like literally travel outside the country or travel outside the state yearly, 1 income. And now today we're looking at X, Y, and Z, and we think it's normal. Okay. In France, when my aunt had her daughter, okay, in France, the first 3 years, daycare was free. It was state run. In Paris, free daycare. Why? Because then she could actually, I don't know, what an idea, make money and then put together a little nest egg, like save money. She was also getting a stipend of, I believe it was either 500 or 600 euros per month. On top of that, for the first 3 years of the child's life, they were paying her. Okay. So when people tried to talk to me about different levels of systems, I've lived them, pretty much all of them. I've lived in Hong Kong. I've lived in Africa. I've lived in London. I've lived in Europe. I've lived in, where else? I have never lived in South America. I would have loved to experience that. It sounds amazing. I've never lived in Australia. Sounds amazing. New Zealand sounds amazing. I wish, and then, of course, America. But I've lived there. Obviously, I live there now. But my point is, I know the differences in these massive countries, right? Which is the European continent and the UK, the United Kingdom. And in sharp contrast. And there was a system there is a system that is kind, at least in Europe. It was kind to its people. Okay? What does that mean? Well, I kind of just told you. Here, if you want to have a baby, in only other states, certain states, if you're going to have a baby, you need to apply for unemployment to get 6 weeks time off to be with your baby. Yet, and I know you've heard this, but I'm going to repeat it because you've heard it. Yet, a breeder of a dog will not let the puppy leave for at least the first 3 months of its life. It has to be with mommy. You know? right? With the dog, mommy doggy. Or else it's considered a bad breed, a bad breeder, a bad, yeah. But women are given 6 weeks unemployment, and the average unemployment is impossible to live on even for a month, much less 6 weeks. In other words, you can't pay your rent with that. You can't, there's no stipend, there's no monies to help a woman have a baby. And you might say, well, bootstrap theory, you should, before you get pregnant, you should just, think about it and plan it. The average person can't save anything. The average person one person has 2 jobs to keep off the streets. Do you know how many people I see where I live, living in their vans, working full time and living in their vans? And this is considered normal. It's called van life. And everyone talks about the van life. Like it's exciting. No, some people don't actually have a choice. They don't want to live van life. Okay. You'd be amazed how many people are actually parked all around this park, and they work full time, and you would never know for 1 second. I saw a video once of a young woman who was working for the state of, I'm not going to say which state, governmental agency, living in her car. And her boss said, yay, it's 6 months, you've graduated. Now you can have 1 day a week of working at home. And she started panicking because she had never told them that she was living in her car. And she had to come clean and tell her boss, look, I don't want a day to work in my house because I don't have a house. I live in my car. And I told this story to someone else. You know how many people have told me? It's not actually uncommon. So why is it all related to twin flames? Because when you suffer, when people are so concentrating on earning money, and especially the masculine, it's all about money. If he doesn't have money, he doesn't feel worthy. If he can't buy you a house, he doesn't feel worthy. If he can't provide for you, he doesn't feel worthy. That is the average good man consciousness, okay? He will not feel worthy. He will run from you. Do you understand me? And if we have a system that proliferates this kind of stress-induced urgency to make money by any means necessary, meaning 2, 3 jobs, whatever it takes, then how the hell can he sit down and meditate and self-actualize and self-realize himself into a spiritual awakening? How the hell is that going to happen? The average person can't even sit down for an hour a day to read a book. They can't. And then when they can, their monkey mind is so hurt, so jumping over this bill and this next move and the other. They can't focus on anything spiritual. And unions with twin flames can't happen until both people are awakened. Do you see the problem here? Meanwhile, we have everything that's been going on about how twin flames don't exist, which I've done videos on and lives on many, many times to refute that stupid statement. But ultimately, going back to the watermelons, which is what this is all about. It's all about that, because when one tribe of people, when a sector of people are made to suffer to this level of suffering and loss, where entire lineages are destroyed, when the basic concept of giving water to children and medicine to children and allowing women to give birth, okay, in a safe place with water so they can, to steam tools, to clean sheets, to make sure they're going to be okay so they don't die of infection, after having a baby. If you've all had a baby, you guys all know what happens what do you need after you need a baby? What happens after that, right? What do you need? What do you need? What kind of tools do you need to perform a C-section? How do you need to clean those tools? Do you get what I'm saying? When that kind of suffering is happening and denied in our faces through the alphabet channels, by simply, again, lying by omission is still lying. So by omitting the opening statements of South Africa, while we have people living paycheck to paycheck on this side of the pond, all of that is purposely set up. And that's the problem. So those of you who have lived in your states for like, I don't know, at least 2 years, you got a shot to do something by actually standing up. I don't care if your voice is shaking. Like, get out of your own way and go, you know what? Archangel Michael, be my voice. Archangel Raphael, Gabriel, come and speak through me. Let me be your instrument. I don't care what you believe in. I don't care if you're laughing at me going, oh my gosh, she's so ridiculous. Like calling on Archangel. Yeah, that's right. There are unseen forces that are protecting us and they're asking us to grow up, put on our grown big boy and big girl pants. And they're there to help us and facilitate us to do it. And many of us are so afraid because we don't feel like we're ready. Like you want your ducks in a row. That'll never happen. That will never happen. Ducks in the row is another limiting line. Kind of like money is the root of all evil, and money doesn't grow on trees, and you can't have it all. You can't have it all. Because what my idea of having it all isn't yours. So all of us can have it all. But if we believe that we are limiting by old sayings and old tired vibrational frequencies that are running sluggishly throughout this frequency that's emerging into 5D, right? There's this old tired frequency that's still like running, and it's almost running on empty. And we have to just kick it off the pedestal and say there's a new frequency, there's a new belief system, there's a new way of living, there's a new way of being abundant to yourself and for the whole entire planet. And that's really all connected. And when one twin flame is so busy running for money and survival, and how the hell is, and typically it's the masculine, how the hell is he going to wake up? How the hell is he going to turn around and go, oh, I recognize you? How the hell is he going to, especially with this fear now of impending WAR? The masculine is the cortisol level on the, again, I'm picking up a vibration of the masculine has been shot, has been really, really put through shit for the last 2.5, 3 years. Okay? So you're damn right they're running. The ones that aren't running are just too tired to run. It's like chasing a horse. Eventually it stops running because it's lathered up. It stops out of, not so much because it wants to stop. It's too tired to continue running. And so some of those twin flames will come back to you, broken. And you better do your work as the feminine and educate the hell out of them fast. Through audiobooks and all kinds of shit. Fast. You got to wake them up. You are not going to waste your time telling them bullshit about, well, why did you choose her? Why did you go back to your that? Okay? And you need to talk to them about vibration, the masculine, WAR, what's going on with watermelons. In other words, you need to let them feel like they're of value, that they can do something. Do you understand? They can do something. Like some of these masculines, all they would do, probably, which would be amazing, is to if you guys, many of you bought land and decided to create little tiny homes, and here's your masculine with a hammer and nails, happier than he's ever been in his life. And that, because he's creating habitat for humanity. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing it, you guys are doing it, your own profit deal. And you've decided that you're going to donate like 3 homes to amazing single mothers or men that are broken, that need a hand up. And they need something. They need time. Maybe they need a year. And then it's rotating place. There are things that I'm creating with some of my starseed buddies. You know, I have a particular starseed buddy. She knows who she is. And we're looking to create something I've just described. Because something has to change. And there are brilliant people that are right now living in tents. Brilliant minds. Da Vinci's, Einstein's, Hemingway's, Jane Austen's. Who the hell are you to tell me I'm wrong? I know it. I feel it. And we're losing some of these people. And when people are to that level of pain and bereft and brilliant, they might not wait until a hand comes to save them. They might unaliven themselves. Because it's like, I can't. No one gets what I'm trying to do. Yeah. And they can't. They're not built to work a job as a post person or as a CEO of a bank, or they're not wired that way. They never were. But we need those people in our society. We need them because they bring us wisdom, knowledge, and they let us see things from a different lens. That's why so many of the watermelon intellectuals were unalivened. Purposely. I'm going to go before I step into dog shit, okay? So you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. You get it. You know what you need to do, right? Okay? Any other comments? Michael, when I was living in my car, I avoided everyone, including family. I'm so sorry, Big's journey. I was thinking of the video as you were describing the van life. Saw that. Big's journey, go ahead and join our Discord. Jen, do you mind sending Big's journey our Discord? He can come, or whoever, she can come on our live. On our Zoom, I mean. We're having a Zoom tomorrow at 12 o'clock. It's a Starseed group. I'm going to be blunt. It's made up of mostly women. We would love more men because we would love to have a co-creation of the masculine and the feminine. We don't talk about chick shit. We talk about starseed stuff, okay? None of us are chicks, okay? None of us are Barbies. We're all badasses. And I'm saying that without being arrogant. We're all badasses in our own Shakti, Kali, Mary Magdalena, Xena Warrior Princess kind of energy. It's all mixed, okay? And my son joins on it sometimes, and we need some masculines. So any masculines, you need to go on the Discord. I think Jen's going to put the Discord, maybe put it up there. Hey, it's Glenn. Oh, good. It's good to see you. All right. Yes. So can somebody put the Discord up? Only because if I do it, I'm going to have you... I'll tell you what the Discord is, though. It's on... Who's on this live right now that can send the Discord? Because the Discord, if I do it right now, I mean, I can, but I have... No, actually, I can't, because the Discord is on my profile page. Oh, yeah, Jen, do you mind giving... Okay, so let me... Great, she pinned it. Can you guys do a screenshot of that? If for some reason that doesn't work, go on my profile page on my link tree, scroll all the way down to Sacred Intimacy Tarot Discord. It'll say Discord, okay? And it'll be right there, okay? Or you can message me personally and I will totally respond. By the way, I'm being told to do this. Do not answer anyone who is trying to hit you up for a reading. I am a tarot reader. Obviously from the name you might have ascertained that, but I'm never going to hit you up for a tarot reading. I'm not going to hit you up for any psychic reading. Please don't get hustled. Okay. There are a couple, tarot readers that are just absolutely ridiculous, that are, posing as me and acting as if I'm thinking I love your energy and I'd love to do a reading. It's all bullshit. They actually hit up my son a couple times. I couldn't believe it. And he gave them an earful, let me tell you. But so please don't get hustled, okay? All right? Yeah, please join because please join. And we love the masculine. We're here to help the masculine. We want the masculine to win. We are not here to tear down the masculine at all. In fact, I put women to task when they try that bullshit with me. I've been a masculine in many incarnations. I've been a warrior in many incarnations I remember. It's the only reincarnations I remember, actually. Oh no, I think, but I don't know why. That's so funny. I just realized. Yeah, I've been a warrior in many incarnations, masculine warrior. And I've been very much in my Shakti energy in many of the feminine reincarnations. And the reason I say that is because I've been a good man and I've been a bastard. I've been both. And I've been a wonderful woman. I've been an absolute a-hole as a woman. I've been both. And I think the reason why I remembered these kinds of... Because I remember remembering this shit going, why would I remember these? This is like awful. I'm a complete... God, I was awful. And then I started realizing why. It was for me to bounce off my energies on really understanding the masculine. And it's probably one of the reasons why I ended up having a son instead of a daughter, or having a daughter and a son. I just have the one son because it's all about helping through this young masculine how to find his footing in this new story of what a masculine is. And it's a new story, but it's based on ancient wisdoms that were whitewashed or diluted by the powers that be for their own particular reasons. When I think of for me, the ultimate sacred masculine that just came to mind is the Knights Templars, because they had an amazing understanding of what had happened to Mary of Magdalena and Yeshua. And they were incredibly connected to Atlantis. And they were incredibly connected to sacred geometry. They were brilliant, highly educated warrior monks. And they were rich. Very, 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 very rich. And no one really knows where they got that wealth. No one knows. But you may want to read about the another great book would be The Knights Templar by Freddie Silva. Freddie with a Y, Silva, Silva. If anyone is incredible, he is probably the only one who's actually really did a deep dive on the Knights Templars. And the reason why that's important, again, just to reiterate, is they understood the sacred feminine. And they revered the sacred feminine. And they understood the place of the sacred feminine with the sacred masculine. As a matter of fact, many of the churches like Notre Dame and Chartres, right outside of Paris, were built by the Knights Templars. In particular, Chartres, which is right outside of Versailles. And some other, cathedrals. But the sacred masculine is an integral part of the sacred feminine. And when you look at Isis, Osiris, Krishna, Radha, Rama, Sita, Buddha, even Buddha had when Buddha was Siddhartha, I always repeat that, but I'm going to repeat it for those of you who are just, learning about me. Siddhartha and his wife before he became the Buddha. And that's a twin flame story right there, which never is really rarely talked about, how the Buddha, to become the Buddha, had to leave his wife and a newborn son. He had to leave. Okay, that's never talked about. That's big. That's like a big, why would you edit that out? Why would I have to know this happened? Because that would totally change my whole perception of what it means sometimes to seek spiritual self-realization. What did it say to twin flame? It would say to you that sometimes self-realization must be done alone. It cannot be done with a beloved. And I could go more into that if you guys want me on Zoom tomorrow, because I really don't want to get, slashed. My tires slashed on TikTok. Let's just put it that way. All right. Let me see. Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, we would love that, to have you, Biggs. And just do your research on Osiris. That's really cool. What else? Anything else? So we're all interconnected. We're down to 19 people. If I was doing, I'm just going to be, I say this all the time. If I was doing a reading on the Twin Flame Collective, I'd have 65 people right now. Isn't that pathetic? No one wants to really do the work. No one really wants to be awakened. No one really wants this. Because when you really want to be awakened, when you're really working on your mission, when you know that you happen to be a twin flame, on a twin flame journey, but also on the ascension journey, you're also at a starseed journey, you're also in human rights journey, you're also making sure that you're escorting planet Earth to 5D out of 3D, which has been the debacle and the bane of our existence for 12,000 years. See, when you're for real, you're here. And that sounds arrogant. I know it does, actually. Even to me, I'm like, fuck, doesn't sound, it's not what I'm trying to say, but as if to say that those not listening to me don't get. What I'm trying to say is this. How do I put it diplomatically? The best way I can say it is that those who are truly starseeds, who are truly on the mission of their own ascension and realizing that the benefit of their ascension is going to benefit every single person they love in their soul tribe family, which includes their twin or whoever else, right? Is going to ask a lot more questions than just, is he coming back? Is she coming back? They're going to be asking a lot more questions about the value of their existence and why they're here. They're going to be asking, why is this shit happening with the watermelon people? We've known for thousands of years that this kind of thing was done by the Romans, by the Moors, by many. It's not new. But why now? Well, because we're coming to a new age. That's why now. That's why. Because it's written in the Odyssey. If you've ever read the Odyssey, it's pretty brutal. Okay? Really brutal. So is the Iliad. Very brutal stuff. If you really read it. And most people haven't read these books, by the way. But it talks about the sieges in the Iliad, actually. And it talks about it. But what I want to say to you is that it is a new age. And we're being asked to step up. And the Galactic Council, whatever you want to call it, the Galactic Council, the powers that be, the light beings, whatever you want to call them, are watching to see who amongst us is going to have the courage to stand up and to say something, using spiritual platform to do so and to intertwine the threads of these stories into one perfect weave, a carpet, a story, like the ancient carpets made by women. You could weave a whole story in a carpet. And every single thing that's happening to every human being is weaved into threads into one giant carpet. And it's a story of our humanity and our failure to each other or our triumph to each other. That's what we're being asked to do. And so people who want to listen to the Barbie love, you know, the people, no offense to you guys who have seen the movie Barbie, but you know, I can't sit through shit like that anymore. Not because I'm above anyone. I just don't have the patience for, I don't want to be fed cotton candy bullshit one more minute. Maybe because I'm probably twice as old as you, to be fair. And maybe sometimes you need cotton candy. So I'll give you that, okay? Just to be fair. But I think my urgency is probably because while I'm here, I want to make sure shit's done. And to your benefit, to the benefit of my son. Because when I see the watermelons and grown men in courts not answering the simple question of, do the watermelons have a right to have water during a war? And they can't answer the question with a straight up yes. When that's a conversation that's being lobbied back and forth like a tennis match, back and forth. But are you saying that during war they should be allowed to have water? And the answer is still not forthcoming. When I see a simple thing like that being argued for 5 minutes, and the answer is never forthcoming, then I know that that capability of coldness is not far from our own experience. Let me leave you with that. I hope to see you all on the Zoom tomorrow at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. Again, go on our Discord. We talk about everything. And we are also going to be doing a guided meditation on Monday about the ushering out of Kali Yuga, which is what we're dealing with. This is the ultimate aspect of Kali Yuga. It's the darkest of the dark. Kali, like Mother Kali, and Yuga, Y-U-G-A. Kali Yuga, look it up. And it's a shit show that we're finally walking out of, and we need to, again, I'm still not clear. I think we're going into Satya Yuga or Tetra Yuga. I still kind of figure it out. But let me just say we're walking out of Kali. That's definitely, yeah, I love you too. Thank you. We can do it. Yes, we can. Start manifesting. Everyone wants to awaken, and it's done peacefully. I meet so many awakening. Exactly. Right. I would love some guidance on my mission and my starseed ancestry, my otherworldly ancestry. Something drew us to Tony. Thank you. All right. So just let's go ahead and meet. It'll be much more open conversation, because with all of us, we have some brilliant people. We have one or two medical doctors. We have psychologist. So we have different people going through various things that are very similar, various backgrounds, various educational backgrounds, various passions, various gifts, and we all culminate together, and we do it once a week. We meet once a week. So it's really, really exciting. I will try to make the live. Can't promise because of time. Thank you for everything. Well, tomorrow's the Zoom, so it's not a live. Tomorrow's the Zoom, and then right after that, at around 3 o'clock, I have a hypnotherapy session for past life regression. And then we have the live on the 15th, Monday, at 12 o'clock. And that will be a Kali Yuga guided meditation. We'll break away for a Zoom session so we can go more in the weeds without being afraid of being, or me being afraid. It's really more for me of being censored. Not to mention we get to hear each other's voice and so forth. Okay? Yeah, to get in the Zoom, you have to join Discord. Okay? Because we figure if you're in Discord and you're cool, you're going to come onto the Zoom. You'll see the link. It's on general chat and also in the welcome page. I'll make sure it's on both when I send the link, and I'll set it up. All right? All right, my loves. Thank you so much for your time. I will upload this live to the YouTube if you missed it. I will upload this today, and you'll be able to see the live if you miss any part of it, and check it out. And hopefully it'll help. Thank you so much, love. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. To get into Zoom. Okay, I love you more. I love you all. And more and more. Namaste.